Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today we're going to be taking these all white Air Force One lows and we're going to be turning them into these Air Force One low light blue customs. First thing we need to do with these Air Force One is take the laces out, take the filling from the inside of the shoe out, and take out the shoe inserts. Next thing we need to do is grab some acetone and some cotton balls, and we need to strip off the factory finish of the shoes. We're going to be stripping down the factory finish on the entire leather part of the shoe as well as the outsole. Next, we're going to grab some leather dye. In this case, I'm going to be using some light blue leather dye from Angelus Direct. You want to take one of the applicators that came with it and basically dye the entire shoe the color of the dye that you're going to be using. That's going to make sure that underneath the paint that you're going to be using, it's going to be the same color. You also want to grab a paintbrush just to make sure that you're getting in all the cracks of the shoe, making sure you have best coverage as possible. The next thing we're going to do here is dye the soles of these Air Force One. How I like to do that is grab some Salon Care 40 and take some of the same leather dye and mix it together. What this is going to do is let the dye soak in to the rubber. You might have to do this multiple times so you can get the sole as dark as possible. After you've let the dye dry for the recommended amount of time, now we're going to spray a few coats of adhesion promoter on these shoes. The adhesion promoter bonds to the shoe, and then the paint bonds to the adhesion promoter. Next thing we're going to do is grab some Angelus light blue and some Angelus too thin, mix that up so we can get this paint to run through the airbrush properly. Your first coat, you want to spray on a light coat and let it dry for the recommended amount of time before your second coat. I would wait about 10 to 15 minutes to make sure that the first coat is dry and sets up properly. By doing this, you'll ensure that the paint has a nice bond to the shoe. Same thing for the second coat. You want to make sure you're doing nice, light, even coats. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to stay in the loop on any new videos we drop. For this custom, I'm using a master single piston airbrush compressor with an Iwata Neo airbrush gun. Next thing we're going to do is grab our light blue acrylic leather paint and mix it with some GAC 900. The GAC 900 Golden is a heat set fabric painting medium. By mixing this stuff in with our paint, it's going to let us be able to keep the factory feel of the fabric in the inside of the shoe, as well as make sure the paint does not come off onto your sock. One of the last steps we're going to do here is seal the custom up. I like to use Liquid Kicks matte finish. There's a lot of different sealers out there on the market. I found that Liquid Kicks gives me the closest thing to a factory finish that I can find. After a couple of coats of this stuff, it's going to make your artwork water resistant and scratch resistant. It gives you that smooth factory feel as well. I like to use this stuff just like the paint. Put on one coat at a time. Make sure for each coat that you're letting it set for the recommended amount of curing time. I let this stuff sit for about 15 to 20 minutes per coat before I move on to the next coat. Last but not least, we gotta lace these things up and get them on the feet. If you're looking for a pair of Air Force One customs like these, I'll leave a link in the description. As you can see, you can get close to factory with lasting results if you don't rush and you take one step at a time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Now I'm gonna leave you with some on-foot footage. Later. Check for the link in the description.